My personal opinion is that we have to keep geoengineering on the table. We have to look at it very carefully because we might get desperate enough to want to use it. The danger, of course, with geoengineering is the one I was referring to a moment ago. We don't understand the system well enough to predict its responses in detail, and that means there's always a danger if you try to engineer the system on a large scale that you will do something that has side effects that are worse than the dimension of the problem you're trying to cure with the geoengineering in the first place. There are a variety of schemes that have been discussed for geoengineering. A classic example is injecting reflecting particles into Earth orbit that would deflect some of the sunlight that would otherwise be warming the Earth, and in that way try to produce a cooling effect to offset the heating effect of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases. Current estimates are that that would be very expensive, that it would be problematic from the standpoint of injecting things into orbit that our other orbiting space assets would have trouble with. And it doesn't solve the whole problem because, for example, it does nothing about the absorption of some of the excess carbon dioxide in the surface layer of the ocean, which is acidifying the ocean and posing a potential threat to ocean creatures that form shells or skeletons out of calcium carbonate. It also doesn't even fully address the atmospheric heat transfer effects of the greenhouse gases because essentially you're interfering in the visible part of the energy spectrum in order to offset an interference in the infrared part of the energy spectrum, and you can't expect that to be completely effective.
Rosalind Peterson is a California president and co-founder of the Agriculture Defense Coalition. The ADC was founded in 2006 to protect agriculture crop production from uncontrolled experimental weather modification programs, atmospheric heating and testing programs, and oceanic and atmospheric experimental geoengineering programs. And the issue is, once you don't call it chemtrails and you actually go look and use their terms, it's all over every major university out there, literally. They're spraying everywhere. They admit it. And NASA admits they're doing it, and the CFR is announcing it, and the president's people are announcing it. But then you tell the public, and they say it doesn't exist. Like, here's the Council on Foreign Relations, International Institutions and Global Governance Program, World Order 21st Century, May 1st, 2008, where they call for global government. I have here today the International Bank of Settlements documents from 2006, where they said they were engineering the collapse for 2009 to bring in the new world order. I mean, that's how this is piling up, where it's just everywhere. Like, where is that? I had that in my stack, and then Aaron ran off with it, and he's now on an airplane. Anyways, let's go ahead and go to Rosalind Peterson. Rosalind, start at the beginning, what we know, the documented stuff that's on record of what's happening. Good to have you here with us.
Well, thank you very much for having me on your show today. There's any number of programs. NASA and the U.S. Air Force are conducting atmospheric heating and testing programs, and they're using the space shuttle and rockets to send up canisters with toxic chemicals like barium and trimethyl aluminum, strontium, lithium, sulfur hexafluoride, SF6, and other chemicals. And then they superheat these canisters and conduct atmospheric and ionospheric heating and testing programs. Then you've got weather modification programs ongoing across the United States. There's more than 60 listed by the U.S. Department of Commerce. And right now, our weather can be modified without our consent. They can use any chemicals and any experiments that they want. A private individual, a corporation, a state, a city, a county, the military, federal government, anyone can modify your weather at any time. They don't have to have any, there is no public oversight. There is no prior public notification, except in a few small counties in some states. And these programs are currently ongoing and growing exponentially. And now Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison of Texas has just introduced U.S. Senate Bill 601 to continue to allow anyone and everyone to mitigate and modify the weather. And they don't set up any government oversight, no prior public notification. There's nothing in this bill. Then you add these persistent jet contrails that turn into white haze, cirrus clouds, man-made clouds that NASA studies show exacerbate global warming. They show that they change our climate, and they're showing that they negatively impact natural resources.
That was the point I was going to make. I've had top climatologists on. I remember like 4 years ago and then 7 years ago, NASA showed their own satellite photos of the whole U.S. and Europe covered with the contrails, which are really chemtrails, as they didn't do this until this program started. This huge black op project that's got to be in the hundreds of billions now. And they admitted that these clouds were going to heat the Earth. So I think they're trying to really screw stuff up so they can panic people into accepting the global warming tax. The denial needs to stop. We need to get control of the shadow government, the national security state. It is just completely out of control, and it's run by eugenicists. Go to CaliforniaSkywatch.com. Again, how do people support you in the wonderful work you're doing, Rosalind Peterson?
I'm always looking for research materials as well, where they can give me government documents or, in other words, any type of public document, government study, university study on these subjects, because the more that we know and can put all the pieces of the puzzle together, the sooner we're going to be able to step up and pin them with the actual facts so that they can't just come back and do what the Air Force does, write letters for Senator Dianne Feinstein to her constituents saying that there's no such thing as chemtrails, it's a hoax, and therefore nothing is going on and everything is wonderful and normal. And those of us who have been around when the skies were deep blue most of the time and clouds were real know that this is just not true, because things are not like they used to be at all.
That's what I was about to say, is that looking, when you look at the different terms that you can Google to pull up university studies, it's not chemtrails, it's aerial aerosol spray, different terms you can look at, weather modification. There they are doing it. This is bigger than the Manhattan Project. I mean, this sucker is massive, and they're publicly about to make it bigger.
Yes, and I think that they're going to say, well, they're going to railroad us into saying, well, the world is warming and we need to fix it. But I don't see them doing anything about the jet airplanes leaving these contrails that are exacerbating it. And they don't talk about the aviation problems that this is causing. So when we say we want to do something about global warming, then no one is going to. How come no one steps up and says, well, look what we're doing. Why don't we reduce what we're doing? And this would change it almost immediately. Well,
they want total domination. It's like in '97 when Secretary of Defense said, we can now control the weather. And he said that in a press briefing. And so that's on record. The Secretary of Defense, William Cohen, they're playing God. And just like they told us, there's no new world order, there's no world government, there's no Bank of the World, we're not planning a global currency. And then, we're setting up a North American Union and a global government. We just got the idea today. They deny, and then finally go, okay, it's a done deal. We've been doing it forever.
We are in the middle of a crude and ugly communist revolution, funded by the big banks as a battering ram into a new age digital economy and a total surveillance state. All branches of government are attacking we the people, and they offer us only one option, a meaningless vote in a rigged election. What we can do is be prepared, and you can support the InfoWar by shopping at InfoWarStore.com for products to help you through good times and bad. And you can share the videos at band.video. Our best hope still is, and always has been, a mass awakening. So download the videos, share them, upload them, and send them everywhere. Let the world unite for truth, justice, and 1776 worldwide.
We have not had this many of our best-selling products back in stock in years because of supply chain breakdowns and all the rest of the stuff that's gone on. And these are game-changing products. Just like our information's game-changing, these products are incredible. And I'm personally glad that these are now back in stock. All three of the InfoWars Platinum flagship products that have been sold out for months are now back in stock, but a very limited run because we only had a budget to get 3,000 or 4,000 bottles of each one of these. I think we've got 4,000 bottles of the HGH Max Boost that people love so much. We've got about 4,000 bottles of 1776 Testosterone Boost that just came in. And we've got about 3,000 bottles of Pain MD incredible natural pain reliever situation. All three of these are back in stock, and they're incredible, and they fund our operation at InfoWarsStore.com.